Angeba Sojola here. Ethiopia wants a port on the Red Sea, right? And Ethiopia believes that the Red Sea is the natural border of Ethiopia, right? But the problem is with this stance is that there is a full country that is sandwiched between Ethiopia and the Red Sea, known as Eritrea. Now, because Ethiopia wanted access to the Red Sea, right? They started a war, right, in 1962 with a federalized Eritrean government, right? They demanded that they want access to the Red Sea, right, using the two ports known as Assad and Massawa. Now, this war, which Ethiopia started, right, started in 1962. It lasted about 30 years and ended in 1992. In 1993, Eritrea decides to go to election and vote for independence, right? In 1993, um, Eritrea is an independent country and has sovereignty, which is not attached to Ethiopia. So after the war, Ethiopia could access the ports, right? For example, 70% of the trade that comes from Ethiopia, right, passed through the port of Assad, and about 30% of the trade that comes from Ethiopia, right, passes through a port known as the Massawa port. Now, currently, 90% of all Ethiopian trade and goods passes through the port in Djibouti, right? It costs Ethiopia about 1.5 billion US dollars in port fees, right? And there are two main ways that goods move towards the Djibouti port, right? It is number one through a railway which was built by China, right, which links Ethiopia and Djibouti, right, and then links the port to the railway, right? And then there is a main road that leads from Addis Ababa, right, the capital city of the country, that is known as A1. This main road is known as A1, right? It also leads to the port of Djibouti. Now, this arrangement is very high risk for Ethiopia, right? If we look at the current situation in Ethiopia last year in 2022, they just signed a peace deal with the Tigrayans, right, to stop fighting and for the Tigrayan army to be absorbed into the Ethiopian army, right? Now, there is another tension that has started now over into the Amhara people within the Ethiopian culture, right? So Ethiopia fears that one of these groups, right, can go rebel and then block, let's say, for instance, bomb the rail that leads from Ethiopia to Djibouti, right? That would disturb the Ethiopian economy, or block the main road known as A1, right? To not allow anything to move towards the port, right? That would cripple the Ethiopian economy and that would create serious instability socially and politically so. So, because of this risk, Ethiopia is seeking to have its own port, right? And this is why it's starting to tout about having war with Eritrea over access to the Red Sea, right? Because the economy of Ethiopia is so big that not having a port would be a real disadvantage to them. So this is why Ethiopia is starting to beat the war drums, right? Starting to throw in certain things like um, the natural border of Ethiopia is the Red Sea, right? Implying that Eritrea, right, is a natural part of Ethiopia, right? In 2015, in September, Eritrea started to raise alarm about Ethiopia intending to invade because they want access to a port, right? So Ethiopia is really in a quagmire, if I can put it like that, because they really need a port so that their economy and people can flourish. Ethiopia lost access to the ports which are found in Eritrea in 1998 after there was a few skirmishes on the border, right? This skirmish is known as the Ethiopian Eritrean Border War, right? After that war in 1998, they lost access to the two ports that they had, right, because of the skirmishes and war.